What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom and become the rock star in your market. We are live here on Facebook. I am in a new location, Greg, as you can very well see. I am in Legends and Losers Central. This is the HQ. This is the command center where Legends and Losers is recorded. So, guys, if you've seen Chris Lockhead on our show, you should go check out his show, which I produce, which is called Legends and Losers, immediately. Well, not immediately. Wait till they're done with watching our show. But anyway, my co-pilot is the Junior Grandmaster is in the co-pilot seat, as you so belong. Gregory, we're not sitting side by side like we have for the last couple of weeks. We're back in our boxes where you very much belong. Very much, definitely belong in the box. But how are you?
I like being in a box, Matt. Being in the box is one of my favorite places to spend a lot of my time. Oh man, I got the nose pinch at like 2 minutes in. I think that was almost a record for me. That was amazing. Dude, it's a day, brother. It is a day. One of our team members, unfortunately, she has entered the 83 percentile and has left the business. Just like Elvis left the building, Midori has left the business for greener pastures as being an accountant. And no one ever said. But she enjoys being an accountant. That's really a strong suit of hers. So I'm really excited for her. And then I'll talk about a little bit, because I'm in a funky, weird headspace today. I don't know why. But you know what? I did something that I powered through and I got a good result. But we'll talk about that when we get into it, after we answer a couple of questions and go from there. And guys, I want you to type in here as you guys are hearing this. I want you guys to type in, what's some of the harder things that you face in real estate, and we'll talk about mindset and a lot of the other stuff in there, but we want to hear from you. So hello to everybody that's watching. Johnson, back to you, my friend.
All right. So, yeah, we've been talking a lot about mindset over the last few days, just you and me, kind of behind the scenes, as the result of us putting together our crew, the 5 people that we're going to coach in the Rockstar Agent Mastermind. And so, yeah, it's brought up some interesting things. And we had Kim Addis as the guest on Friday. Yeah. And she had a very good perspective on really understanding what how did she put it? It was understanding the mindset behind the issue, right? The obstacle or the issue is usually never the problem. It's the mindset behind it, which I think she's exactly right about that. So we'll get into that. Yeah. But there was a couple of questions that that we did not get to, and I'm struggling to find the one that I had in mind. But let's deal with this one first. So Elena, this is on the lead gen description objections group, says cold calling for the first time today. 25 calls placed. Anyone who did answered hung up in disgust. Now, if you're doing calls, I mean, you're going to have days like that. That's not indicative of the way they are every day. What would your advice be to someone like that? That's just essentially they started cold calling and right off the bat just ran into a bad day?
Well, I think there's something in the water, because if that's questions from today, I've had the same freaking day over here doing calls. I just had Grumpy McGrumplesons. Grumplecated. That's who I had on the phone today. Grumplecated. Okay. And so, dude, I was sitting there getting my ass handed to me. I pulled up a list of 584 numbers. I only talked to 22 people, but I made 483 outbound calls, left 145 voice messages. And 307 people didn't pick up. 21 out of the 22 people were complete douchebags and just hung up on me, talk shit. Like they as soon as they knew I was in real estate, like they sped up their conversation. Like, oh my God, I think he's going to try to put a voodoo spell on me. He's going to make me sell a house. No, I was just trying to be nice. But then I met Rose on my 483rd call. She's going to be selling her home in April. She asked for me to send her some information, so I have a handwritten card, my card, and my trifold. It is in a handwritten envelope, and I'm going to be placing that in the mail. So it does just take time to get to the right person. And you can get there. You can get the right nice person. You just got to be persistent and consistent all the way through the bullshit. The other people are just want to treat you like garbage because they think they can because they're telephone tough guys. But you know what? This gal, dude, you just got to buck up, buttercup. You just got to put the big girl pants on and just make it happen. End of story. There's not going to be an easy thing to it. There's not going to be a remedy to it. You just got to put the hard work in. Done.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Here's another one that might be a little specific. This is from Ed Muquit. Does the Mojo Dialer / CRM have automatic drip campaigns for your sphere or maybe long-term buyer sellers? Something in the sense that you would send out like a monthly templated email, like, hey, just checking in to see how your property search is going.
You can put schedule. You can schedule follow-ups in their calendar. They can do reminders to you. They've done a lot of. I think you can actually send some emails as well. I don't really dick around with all those other bells and whistles on it. I just get in here, and just start doing calls, man. I mean, because that's what my point is. And if they're looking for the easy button of calls, Mojo already is the easy button for doing circle prospecting. End of story. I mean, you've got to take some responsibility as an adult and as a real estate agent and as a professional to put the fucker in your calendar and then call them back. I mean, it doesn't take a whole ton of work, but that's all it really takes. So, no, not to my knowledge. But again, they are always updating stuff, and I have not read the latest updates.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, for you guys, I know your follow-ups are set up in, let's say, Top Producer. For seller leads, you're using, I think we can say this publicly, right? Getting involved with Neighborly.
Well, we just did, so yeah. Now we're going to say it.
Well, in the sense of following up with seller leads, you can, yeah. So anyway, you're using a couple of different systems, and you're basically just jumping into Mojo for strictly just the calls. You make the calls and then set them up. Basically, you're essentially handing off your leads to Eileen, who's then plugging them into something like a Top Producer, and then that's what puts them on your guys' follow-up plans.
Yeah, exactly right. Dude, the steel trap cracks me up, dude. That woman, she is unfreaking believable. I was sitting here, and I was on the phone with Rose, and I read off the address, and Eileen's like, I know that address, I know that address, I know that address. Ooh, ask if they know so-and-so. And so I'm like handling two conversations and asked the lady, I'm like, do you know so-and-so? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, really? And we explained who they were. They were past clients of ours. They were her next door neighbors. And Eileen just heard the address and just goes, ooh, I know that address. Pulled it just out of thin air like a genie pulls a rabbit out of a hat, man. Unreal. That woman is unreal.
Yeah, that is crazy. Pay her well and buy her lots of gifts. All right.
Yes. Lots of baby gifts.
All right. So Matt Harper, this is from Lead Gen Scripts Objections. Does anyone live an hour plus away from their office or market area? And if so, how are you making it work? Now, I know, Greg, you do work a lot in the areas where you literally live in, but you're also working areas. I mean, the East Bay is kind of spread out. So you've done both. How do you make it work?
You watch the traffic patterns and then try to do reverse commutes if you're going to try to go somewhere, or plan out your timing. And then when you're in the car, use it as an educational time. Use it to listen to, audible.com, listen to our podcast, listen to other podcasts, really spend that time as educational time. Use it as the asphalt university, and just get smarter with everything that you do. Don't listen to the dumbass pop song with the stupid DJ that you've heard the dumb jokes 100 times. Get smarter. Because that's how I'd handle time. I wouldn't use that as like a downtime. I use it as an educational time. But when it just comes to like going back and forth, do reverse commute. I mean, if go later in the morning, like work from your home until like 10 o'clock, drive into the marketplace, be in there by around 11, then work until maybe 6:30 or so if you can, then drive home when there's not so much traffic. That's how I would recommend doing something like that. It's worked well for me in my area, because I know there's certain areas, like you and I were having breakfast the other morning before you bailed down to Santa Cruz area, and you and I are going to get in the studio and record a bunch of stuff. You're like, well, how's this going to work? We were talking about traffic patterns. And you're like, oh, so basically I'm coming to you. I'm like, yep.
Yeah, Greg. Either through deceit or through the legitimate traffic patterns, what we shall see. Greg has convinced me that it is my role to come up to see him.
That's how it should be, Johnson. This is my turf, player. Oh my God, yo, the baldest of the bald is with us today. The Wittenstein. Right. What is up?
Yes, and he greets us with a gentlemanly yo yo yo.
Yes, yo yo yo.
All right, let's talk about mindset for a second, because actually Aaron posted a really good question in the group. So what do you consider the toughest part of your job? And I have what I think is the answer on this based on my conversations with and I do mean the in all caps, Grandmaster over the past few days, just over the past couple weeks that I've been hanging out in your neck of the woods and had some really good in-depth conversations with your dad, the T Diddy, as you call him.
Yes, the
So
T
I kind
Diddy.
of have my theories on what the toughest part of the business is, but I'm curious what your perspective is.
Well, man, that's a loaded question if I've ever heard one. It's like asking when you're touching a double-edged sword, which side is the sharpest? They're both pretty bad. But what I would say persistence and consistence and mindset. Because a lot of people, what they do is their mindset isn't in a positive place, so that when they're trying to be consistent about being persistent on follow-up and lead gen, their mental stability isn't there to hold the weight of whatever is pulling them down. So I think meditation, energy release, if you're into it, prayer, but some sort of, or breathing, doing something to really either oxygenize, put oxygen in your brain. I can't talk right now. And really kind of go into a calming state. That's why people smoke. I mean, yeah, there's the nicotine there, but when you smoke, you take a deeper breaths in, and it puts more oxygen into your system, which is a unique, interesting fact that I learned the other day. But I mean, I think
never once thought about that.
Well, probably never smoked. I smoked for 20 years. And I quit like that, actually. It was really pretty cool. I've never had a craving ever again. Like, I smelled smoke coming back from Trader Joe's today. I'm like, yeah, sticky.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. I was going through a pack and a half a day. On the weekends, some weekends I would go through 2 packs a night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was brutal. But anyways, my point is that mindset, being persistent and being consistent at your goals and what you need to achieve on a daily basis. I was listening to another podcast, and it was talking about the fact of, like, when you write your goals down, your projects or problems, whatever you want to call them, it really helps your subconscious mind if you're able to check things off on a daily basis. And I think a lot of us in real estate, like the Grandmaster and I, the thing that he and I like to do in our own respective homes is clean. The reason, it's not like I like to clean, but I like to see a result. I like to see something finished, because in our business, it takes 30 days or plus days to get something to that finished level. So, when you write your goals down for the day, guys, write small things like brush your teeth, check. Put clothes on, check. Talk to your spouse, check. Small things like that. It will help your subconscious, know that you're working through your objectives for that day, so that when the big ones come up, the long ones come up, you can already say, look, I've already done all this other stuff. I can certainly do this one. So long answer to a short question. I got to say something really quickly. Guys, I am offering this out. This is a CD that we recorded, a while back. Yeah, when we were with Intero, so a while back. But if you guys ever want to hear what the actual Grandmaster says in his own words about business, getting started and what he has done for 46 years to be successful, I will send you a copy of this CD. It's a $25 value. Which one? Yeah, no, it's $20 value. Yeah, these were being sold for $20 back in the day, but I will give them away to you if you guys want to hear from the Grandmaster himself. Yeah. So what did the Grandmaster say? What was his opinion?
So Terry said that every 7 years in the business is like a business lifetime. It's like a career squashed into 7 years. And he said one of the biggest things to get over is the people that you get close to that then reject you in some way, whether usually the deals that you didn't get, right? The people that you felt like you could count on that would use you to buy or sell. And you may not even know that you have that expectation until they use somebody else, and then you get offended over it, just things like that. And I think he's right. I mean, the part that I hated the most about the business wasn't the sales and marketing part. It wasn't the business building part. It certainly wasn't the team building part. Loved all that stuff. Yeah, for me, it was the client stuff. And maybe I didn't have the tools at that time to deal with it the way I do now, because now now, granted, I'm fortunate that I'm pretty selective on the clients I work with, and I work with people that I, for the most part, would hang out with in person. And so I've self-selected the types of clients I work with, but you can do that in real estate too, to an extent. And, but yeah, I think that's probably the toughest part for most people, is that sense of rejection, whether it's the deals that you don't get from your sphere, the business relationships that go wrong, and that sense of rejection, and then just showing up every day and essentially asking people a question that 97% of the time is just a no. Now they're not saying no to you, and that's part of the mindset stuff that we have to get straight. Is if you're asking them if they're ready to do something in real estate and they say no, it's not a rejection of you, but it's easy to take it that way sometimes under certain circumstances, and that seems to be what burns people out of real estate. Sometimes it takes a year, sometimes it takes 7.
Yeah, no. And you know what? You got to protect your mindset, like you protect gold, because it is so easy for your mindset to be chipped away at on a daily basis. It could be a spouse, a friend, a family member. They could be saying something that they thought would be nice. Like you and I, Matt, you and I had a conversation about this on Friday about someone that you had a conversation with, and this person wasn't trying to be rude or manipulative or just talk shit, but it ate away at you. And once you told me what the conversation was about, it kind of ate away at me a little bit. You have to set time up to really put a barrier around your brain, because every single day someone's going to go in there and just chip, 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 chip. It could be, the fact that a coworker gets to the open house and you don't get the open house, or that your client didn't write an offer and your team member's client wrote an offer and they got the deal. It could be your spouse making a comment, your friend, your father, your sister, your brother, your mom, anything. But if you can say every morning, hey, look, this is my profession, this is what I choose, this is how I'm going to run my business, and you review your goals on a daily basis, if not even maybe 2 to 3 times a day, so you keep your subconscious and your conscious mind down the same track, so that you know where you're going, so you can be ready for when things start showing up, and you can be grateful for the small things in life. The small things will add up to the large things, but we always concentrate on the large things in our lives. We don't appreciate the small little nuggets every single day. Like, look, all of you fools got up this morning. W box, check. That's a big one. Pushing up daisies is kind of a bad one, but we don't think about it, do we?
Dying tends to harsh your mellow.
Harsh my melon.
No, you're right though about talking about being thankful for the little things. I read this, and I think it's in Tools of Titans, but he was talking about his interview with Tony Robbins about gratitude. And Tony Robbins mentions that when I run through my gratitude list, it's not always, it's my wife and my kids and my blah blah blah, like the big stuff, right? Of course you think about that stuff, but he also makes the point that he's like, I try to pick something out in my immediate environment that's a small thing, and really feel the gratitude for that. And that stuck with me. And so when I journal in the mornings and I kind of write down the 3 things that I'm grateful for, I try to pick out one thing that isn't this big, massive thing. Because sometimes you'll end up listening to the same things over and over again, right? And as much as you want to continually be thankful for the big things in your life, it makes a difference to appreciate the small things, whether it's, waking up this morning and hearing the ocean air from 2 blocks away. Just feeling that oh my God, where I am right now is pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah, 2 blocks away from the ocean.
And really physically feeling that, yes. Well, running on the beach does help with that.
Yes, it does. There's small things when you think about it. I'm extremely excited and incredibly thankful for this little blue fan that's right here that constantly is running, that I could not survive without. I love this little thing. I'm really grateful for my new light that's right here that casts good light on my face. It used to look like I was broadcasting from a cavern somewhere. Those are 2 things I'm really grateful for. So it is powerful to pick out the smallest things. A lot of us, with our spouses or significant others, and this goes for business partners and clients as well, we all pick out the things that piss us off about that other human being. She didn't do this. He didn't do that. She did this to me. He did that to me. Instead of looking at the way that you are irritated at things, start turning that 180 degrees and looking at the things that you are grateful for about them. So if you're married, every single day, write one thing about your spouse or significant other that you really think is awesome about them that day. Even if she's being a royal bitch, be like, you know what, that girl can really fight. I mean, do
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, that's something I've been working on, Greg. It's funny you mentioned that. Not with a spouse or anything like that, and not with you and our business partnership, because that's fine. I've just noticed, and my mentor actually pointed it out here 4 or 5 weeks ago in relation to something else, and he asked me, okay, like I get it. He's like, that's the negative interpretation of that. What's the positive interpretation of that? And I realized, holy crap, like I get it. Like that what happened was it was something shitty that somebody else in the real estate industry did. And their motives are pretty clear, right? So it's hard, like it's really difficult in a situation like that to go, okay, what's the positive? But it is there. And he made the point that, and this goes back to Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil, drifting, right?
Yeah, drifting.
He said that because what that is it's very, very easy. Like once you allow it once, it's easier to allow it a second time. The second time turns in the third time, and the next thing you know, you're drifting, right? Like your mind, and because of, partially because we go this way, and then it's reinforced by the media environment that we live in and social media and everything that's going on, we're going to gravitate towards the negative, right? So if we're not really going out of our way to counter that, we're going to drift, right? We're going to drift off into negativity. And that really hit me. And so I've made a conscious effort, like since he asked me that question, to just go, I don't care if I agree with the interpretation, but what is the positive? What could it be? Almost like the Sedona method. Well, if it was going to be positive, what could it be? And well, am I choosing to believe that it is that? Even if I don't, just taking a step back to think about, well, what could the positive interpretation be has made a difference.
Yeah, that helps a lot for me today, because there's gonna be some pretty substantial changes in my life coming up here very soon. Which, by the way, dude, I'm pretty fucking pissed at just. I guess it's me. I have to be mad at.
Okay.
I gotta just bitch slap my ego sometimes and get back in there. Because when I got my Mercedes and I put my 22-inch rims with the zero profile tires on them, they look sweet, right? Until you hit a couple of potholes and you bent 3 of them, like I did, and then they were trying to re-stretch the rim out and they cracked it. I did buy a $750 rim. But here's the cool part. Here's the positive part I'm taking out of that.
Okay.
I have been wanting, and this is how the universe works. Once you say you want something, and you focus on it enough, it'll find a way to make it happen. No matter if there has to be something negative that takes place in your life, so that it forces you into action. So I've been saying, I have my Mercedes.
Okay.
We chucklehead. I have my Mercedes.
I'm chuckling about my life right now.
Yeah, you got to have a sense of humor about that.
Yeah, I do.
But I have my Mercedes right now. It's exactly what I've always wanted. I mean, down to the T, right? Yep. But I've been focusing on the fact that
I've seen your wall.
Jeep Grand Cherokee, right? Well, there's the Jeep up here too. And I've been focused on the fact that I really want my Jeep, and I've been really want my Jeep. I really want my Jeep. Well, guess what? It looks like the universe is forcing the Mercedes out of my life because the maintenance on that bitch is going to astronomical levels, to the point where I'm like, fuck it, dude, I'm done. I'm out. And so I've been looking at Jeeps, and I think I'm just gonna sell this Mercedes, whatever it's gonna cost, just sell the damn thing. I don't care if it goes zero on it, and I'm gonna go get my Jeep. And so I'm actually forcing the reality of my future now, because I put my mind to it. And that's once you start seeing that, once you're like saying, damn, I got to spend $2,000 to fix this stupid car. But instead of saying, oh, woe is me, I'm like, dude, huge opportunity. Actually, the universe is giving me exactly what I've been looking for. And that's how I shift all this kind of stuff around. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
To kind of,
it's good. And that is a learned discipline. And it's not always easy. Some people, I think, find it easier than others, but it's definitely not. But conditioning your mind, however you want to think about it, is not easy for anybody. It's definitely a skill that has to be learned, and it's a muscle that has to be built and like flexed and over time. And that's one of those things that be patient with yourself, and I'm trying to be patient with myself on that, because obviously I want to get from A to Z. I want to get from 0 to 60 in about 2.1 seconds. I do not want to take the Volkswagen from 0 to 60. I want to take the souped up Mustang. But
No, dude, you need the Bugatti. I
the
can get you
Bugatti.
there. The Bugatti,
Are
multi-million
we
dollar
talking
car.
about a Bugatti? Okay, I was thinking. I thought that maybe you mentioned a Ducati as in a motorcycle.
Well, I can get you there in 2.1 seconds too.
Yeah, those are fast. All right, guys. So let's take a step back. So first of all, go to getnowbusiness.com. The show is sponsored by that live course. It is a 4-week live course, a simple 4-step marketing plan to get you business in 90 days. Essentially, put commissions into your pocket, and that's with no cold calling, no door knocking, and a very reasonable under $500 marketing budget. We'll teach you exactly how to go after the 2 types of people that are the most likely to do business with you right now. We'll also teach you how to reach out to them through avenues like Facebook groups, Facebook Live, Facebook lists, as well as I will basically take you underneath the hood of my whole like LinkedIn connection building and high value introduction strategy. And so that is in that course. We also have special guests from time to time, including the Volpinator, the evil bald ninja Gene Volpe, dropped in on one of our last sessions. So we always have surprise guests. So go there, getnowbusiness.com, and check that out. And then there was another question that caught my eye before we dive back into some mindset stuff. A really practical question.
Okay. Carla, I got your address. I'll put a CD in the mail today for you.
Perfect. Yeah, I noticed there was a few questions flying around the Facebook stream about that. So Carolina Mendez says, during open houses, do you offer the visitors information on the house as they walk through the property, or do you let them wander and wait for questions?
Good.
Very
question.
tactical question.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the tactical answer to that. When it comes to open houses, what I do is I go up and I meet them immediately. I'll have my flyer here, and I'll just say, I'll put it out to them like this, and I'll smile, and I'll just say, hi, welcome to the open house. I'm glad you guys were able to make it today. My name's Greg. Help me. How'd you guys find us today? Was it the signs, the internet, or did your agent send you? Now, they're going to answer one of three ways. And if they said their agent, I'll be respectful and kind and let them go on their merry way, because I have no desire to be a client thief, because that gets around the industry very quickly and you will be blackballed. So don't be a douche. Then you figure out which one of your marketing is working better. The signs are working better or the internet's working better. What I do at that point is that I then block them, not like football block. I just stand there and block off a passageway, and I kind of force them in a direction, because I ask them, you know what, hey guys, thanks for coming in. The home is yours. I would love to hear your questions. I would also love to hear your thoughts on blank. And that's whatever aspect of the home that you think is unique and you think you want to have everybody else talk about. So master bathroom, the bedroom, the view, the pool, the kitchen, whatever, right? Just pick something, the garage. And then you say, hey, the house is yours. Go ahead. And then I just kind of sit there and smile, and they'll meander on a certain direction. And then I find a way to loop around and catch them in a different location, kind of like, whoa, hey, you again, huh? Imagine seeing you.
Fancy running into you in the den that's connected to the kitchen that I just walked out of.
That's so weird how that works out. And then I'll just ask very top level questions. How long have you guys been looking? Where are you coming from? What's prompting the move? That kind of stuff. You don't ask for the business, especially if they said that they just came through the internet or the signs. You don't ask for any business until you've brought value. And bringing value is just having conversation. You have to build a relationship. If you're at the bar and you're talking to a hot chick, you're not going to stick your tongue down her throat like, so how you, that's not going to work out so well. But I mean, if you get a conversation going and you have a conversation and you build some rapport, then they're more likely to give you their phone number. Like I did that one time. There was this couple walking through, and I right in the beginning, I almost asked them. I'm like, so do you? Nope, gonna be quiet. And I just let them walk on their way, and then the way out, I say, hey guys, by the way, you're not working with an agent. I'd love to get your information and follow up with you. We always have more properties coming on the market. Now, that's another script right there, by the way, Matt. Is you know what? Hey guys, we always have
properties.
No, the Grandmaster taught me this one because I was totally baffled one day. He's like, yeah, we have some, which happens every day. He says, hey, hey guys, would you like us to follow up with you? We have some more properties coming on the market. And I knew we didn't have anything else coming on the market. I'm sitting there going, what the hell is he doing? And when he left, I'm like, Dad, what the hell is that? We don't have anything else coming on the market. He's like, Greg, there's always more properties coming on the market. I'm like, aha, not us, but the market. It was so simple. it's a great script and gets people to interact with you.
I like it.
So that's the tactical way, and then you start asking for the business, you're asking questions and start building the rapport. But yeah,
Okay.
great question on that one.
Yeah, it was a good question. There was a couple of them here that caught my eye on VAs. So I wanted to just quickly address a couple of things on VAs. So one of the gentlemen asked that, anyone here had success with a specific VA company that you'd recommend, preferably US if possible. Do you have looking for some feedbacks on virtual ISAs? So, and I know this is a hot topic right now. So one of the things that probably where people run into the most trouble that I've seen is when they're trying to hire an ISA to do something they haven't done, or especially are unwilling or afraid to do. And when people try to hire an ISA to make calls for them, for an example, that doesn't work out the greatest. If you're going to do that, I would go with a company where somebody else is managing them, like 1000callsaday.com. That was based off of, Jeff Cohn, who's been on the show before, Frank Klesitz, who's been on the show before. A couple of my friends and mentors run that company. So you're paying somebody else to manage the VA. If you're not paying them or in hiring them to do something you haven't done, and this is stuff that you've done, you have a system, you know how to train them, you can go to someone like a My Outdesk and they'll just give you a great candidate. They've already been through some training. Now it's going to be like admin type training, right? From what I understand, for the most part, but they'll have like a good foundation, but if you're really if you're really on top of your proverbial essay, shit, you can go directly to onlinejobs.ph, which is where I would find VAs. I think it's like $50 a month, maybe a little bit more than that now. And you can literally put a job ad direct to the job boards in the Philippines and go straight to the market and just interview candidates and stuff like that. So those are 3 places to go for VAs, but it really does, like the approach from what I've seen, it really comes down to, have you done it? Do you have the system that produces results because you've done it yourself? If you do, is the system documented in such a way that you can hand it over to somebody and quickly and easily train them in a couple hours and get them up and running? If not, go hire a company.
Yeah, but I mean, I have hired VA companies both in the States and out of the States, and I'll tell you one thing, man. They just can't do as good of a job as I do. I mean, I've tried to use them as the easy button to stop doing it.
They will never do as good a job as you do in certain areas. But Greg, we both know that you're not the most systematic.
Don't bite me. So the thing is that, if you're going to use a VA, I would recommend, if they're going to be off, out of country, I would recommend them not doing calls for you. They can do something anywhere where, because people don't hear an accent. I'm not trying to be rude or racist.
1,000 calls a day is doing it in your neighborhood. They're doing it in your area for guys like Gary Boomershine. So it just depends. I know you didn't have a good experience. I know you got some.
Finish what I'm saying. I got 2 things to say here. What I'm saying is the fact that both offshore and onshore, you have to make sure that if you're going to hire a VA, make sure you know exactly what you want them to do. People with accents, there's a trigger that gets pulled in people's brains, going, oh my God, telemarketer, I don't like this, gotta go. And as bad as that is, it's happened every single time people do calls for us. Philip was one of our callers for another company. He's the only one that didn't trigger a negative reaction. He's the only one that was actually able to get some decent calls done. Everybody else, just didn't do a good job. But but if you're in a highly ethnically diverse neighborhood, then it might work out really well for you. I'm in Honkyville over here.
Yeah, you are.
As my buddy Sean Smith would say, Greg, I'm coming to visit you in Honkyville. I'm like,
oh man, that's funny. All right. So let's see. Let's jump back into some mindset stuff. So what's been on your mind? We had our kind of finalist interviews on Friday for I believe it was. We narrowed out of the freaking flood of applications that we got for the Rockstar Agent Mastermind. We narrowed it down to about 20 people, invited them to a call. Of the people that honored their word and showed up, which was a smaller percentage than we would have liked to have seen, but out of the people that showed up for that finalist call, so we kind of took them through a process of figuring out what their big why was and what has been holding them back so far to the point where they feel like they would get value out of this type of program, right? I mean, just kind of standard questions that you would ask if you were looking to help somebody. And it was just interesting to see, the stark contrast between what they think holds them back versus what's probably holding them back. And it all comes down to mindset and their belief systems about certain things. And I'll give you a quick example. We talked earlier about the persistency and the consistency factor. Think about how many people in that finalist round for the Rockstar Agent Mastermind had tried 7 different ways of generating leads.
Yeah.
At least 5. It was a lot. And it was, and we're talking about people that, for the most part, now not all of them, but for the most part, they're relatively new to the business, right? Yeah. And so what that tells me is they didn't have a great process for determining what prospecting methods were going to work for them based on their own personality. And so they're trying things that work for other people and hoping to get the same results.
One of the things that I tell Lily all the time, is the fact that, like, she has so many people whispering in her ear, hey, do this, hey, do that, hey, don't do this, this won't work, this will work, this is what I've done. And I said, look, babe, you've got to do one of 2 things. Either you can let everybody tell you what works for them, or you're going to take a step back and you're going to figure out what you want to do and what works best for you, and then you're going to go into it and you're just going to make it happen. Because I think everybody has too many advisors. You listen to too many people in your sphere of influence, and you need to decipher down who should be an advisor to you and why should they be an advisor to you. If your coworker who's just as new or just a slight, like maybe 6 months newer, older in the business than you are, there might not be the best person to listen to when you could have access to your manager, your broker, your team leader, something along those lines. People that have a lot more time in this thing and want to see you succeed. Sometimes people give you misinformation just to have you fail. Have you ever thought about that? It's scary, but it's the truth.
Yeah, no, it's true. Or they just have nothing of value to say. So I did an interview with Jeff Cohn here, I think it was last week, and he was sharing his 5 biggest mistakes he made in the process of building his team. You want to know what mistake number 2 was? It was going and interviewing all the top producers in his area who had absolutely nothing of value to tell him. Zero. They had zero value. Because they were either they didn't really know where their business was coming from. It was just completely personality driven and just them being them, and that's how business came in. They didn't really know. Or 2, they had a scarcity mindset and wouldn't tell them. Mm-hmm. So their big advice was, I probably should have invested in real estate sooner. It's like, well, that's great. How do you get to that point? Like, I need other advice, lead generation, marketing, sales, what works,
the business. How do I make it happen?
How do I actually build a business?
The funny thing is that in real estate, when I was the head, coach and trainer for my brokerage, I gave my entire playbook, A to Z, to people. I even gave them my scripts. I gave them every timing. I gave them door knocking sheets, templates that I did. Guess how many people did them? Like 1, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's scarcity mindset, guys. This is what I encourage you to do. Matt and I give freely and wholly to you guys all the time. I want you guys to practice that same mindset and that same mental landscape of just giving. And I want you to give to the next agent that you see that might need help in your brokerage or out and about, or if you see someone that could do something a little bit better and you guys know how to do it. I challenge you to step up to the plate and pay it forward and build an ally instead of an enemy when it comes to your local agents. I don't think I've ever seen another agent in my marketplace freely and willingly give of their knowledge to a fellow agent unsolicited. Going, hey, man, I know how to do this. I used to be X, Y, and Z. Hey, check this out, or go to this website, or here's this product. Yeah. So that'd be cool to see. And then tell us about it. I would love to see if you guys could, or have you guys already done that? Tell us right now. Type into the comments like, hey, I did blah, blah, blah. Or you guys gave us blank and I gave it to, so-and-so. That would be cool. Mm-hmm. That'd be really cool.
I did that. I gave a blank to a so-and-so.
Good for you, Johnson.
God. Oh my God. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I had to give you a hard time about that. Okay.
Yes. So yeah, VA means virtual assistant. Yep. Just so everybody knows.
Yes, I did notice that here in the Facebook comments. Let's see.
Hmm. Dude, you know what? Like
Hmm.
today, I wanted to go back and bury my head in the sand and go curl up on my couch today. I was just in a weird mood, right? And here's
Yeah.
something that's so subtle that you got to ask questions. I walk into my now Matt and I usually do classes on Monday mornings. My team is used to that, so they're not used to me walking in the door at 9 o'clock in the morning. I walk in the door and it's Eileen, Midori, and Chris sitting around, looking like they're having a meeting. And they turn to me and they're like, "Oh, hey, you're not usually here this early, eh?" And I'm like, "The fuck is going on here? You know,
Okay.
do they having a meeting? Do they always have meetings like this? What are they having a meeting
You're
about?
gonna
Is it about
you're gonna
me?
wake up tomorrow morning in the trunk of a large Cadillac.
No, I'm not." But what I found out was I made the assumption that they were having a meeting and they didn't invite me, and it immediately hurt my feelings. And I closed down and shut down. I turned my back to them. I didn't interact. I'm like, fuck all you. I don't care. And then Eileen later, she's like, "Hey, Greg, what's up?" And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "What do you think was happening in here?" And I'm like, "I think you guys are having a meeting without me and it hurt my feelings." She's like, "No,
It's a
dude,
meeting
that's
of the
exactly what
He-Man Woman
happened."
Haters Club.
Yeah, well, Chris is in it.
Yeah.
So I mean, but she's like, "No, dude, like Midori was just had an opportunity to tell Chris that she was going to be leaving the team today, so she can go be an accountant." And then like Midori was sitting here, Chris was sitting here. Eileen had to go literally to her chair in the middle. So when I walked in, it looked like it was a circle going on with the conversation, and I completely misread the situation. So it got me
Yeah.
in a mental rut. And so, have you guys had that? Has that happened to you today or in the last week when you misread a situation? Because you know what, that took me to a tailspin. It's so fast how your brain just can go like that, and you're in a
Hmm.
bad place. And I did
Yeah.
not do any breathing. I took it personal as usual. I learned, and I'm taking away from this event that you know what, it's not always about you. It could just be an opportunity that you just want.
Yeah, that's very true. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah. Well, I think that's a very valuable lesson for us all to learn. It's mostly not about us.
No, if you have a zit on your nose and you're so worried that, oh my God, everyone's going to notice the zit on your nose, no one's going to notice the zit on your nose because they just don't care about you
Yeah.
that much. People get worried
Yeah,
about that
that's
stuff.
the he Maxwell Maltz, the author of Psycho-Cybernetics, talks about that a lot because he was a plastic surgeon,
Mm-hmm.
and he noticed that he would have consultations with patients, and they would tell him why they needed a certain procedure, like my nose is too big, my ears are too big, and whatnot, and he's looking at him going, no, it's not. And they're
No.
like, no, no. Like everybody's laughing at me, like behind my back. They're all laughing at me. Like, no, no, they're not. This is all up in your noggin. Like it's all going down up here. Like he said,
Yeah.
some patients have absolutely convinced themselves that people were laughing at them, talking about them behind their
Yep.
back to the point where they were agoraphobes. Like, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
mean like a Matt Johnson, I don't leave the house except to go to Starbucks agoraphobe kind of way. I mean like an actual, clinically diagnosed agoraphobe. Not Greg makes fun of them for being agoraphobe. Um, which is crazy, right? To think about somebody that like would exaggerate something that they don't like about themselves to the point where they imagine that other people are making fun of them so bad that they don't even leave their house anymore, right? And
Yeah.
that's an extreme example, but our brains, yeah, like our brains go that direction sometimes, and we can interpret events way out of whack with what's really going on. And so it definitely helps. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to prevent that, but at the very least, like have good people in your life that you give them permission to speak into your life as a reality check, both good and bad. I mean, obviously you need people that can kind of kick you in the tail when you're screwing up, and that's great. But sometimes, especially in business, man, Frank told me this one time. He's like, dude, you should be very proud of what you've done and what you've built. I'm like, thank you. He's like, yes. He's like, so entrepreneurs need to hear that from like other entrepreneurs. Sometimes you just
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to hang out with people that can take a step back and say, hey, you are doing a phenomenal job. You should be
Mm-hmm.
very proud of what you built and what you're doing. He's like, because most of the time it's super lonely. You can't really tell your spouse. Sometimes you can't tell your significant other necessarily all the things that are going on. At the very least, you're off in kind of your own little world building your own thing. And real estate's very much like that because most real estate agents are solopreneurs, right? And we don't have that support system of people that can come along inside of us and just say, hey, man, you're doing a great job.
Yeah. No, it's really important. I mean, I have the T Diddy that, says very encouraging things to me on, when on days that I'm down. And it's important to be around people that are going to support you. And Wyatt, for this to you, my friend, Knuckles to you. He picked up his first condo in the nudist colony. So keep it up, buddy. Make sure it's on the sunny side. And that's great work. And it helps with your mindset when it comes to complimenting people.
Okay.
Go out of your way and compliment 2 or 3 people in your office, and it could be something super small, like, "Hey, John, dude, great work, man. I heard you nailed that huge listing. Just way to go, buddy." Small things like that. Or, "Hey, go talk to your TC, which is transaction coordinator. Go talk to your TC and be like, 'Hey, you know what, Rebecca, you just are amazing. Thank you for always being so on point and keeping me in line.'" Those small things will build up in the bank of goodness and kindness, will then come back to you when you're having a rough day. When people say, "Oh, dude, you're having a rough one." I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Well, dude, you're awesome because of blah blah blah." It is incredibly interesting to understand and think that when you're around people that are always negative, then you immediately default to negative. But if you can surround yourself with people that are positive, kind, uplifting, and encouraging, you will then be the same to someone else. And I know I'm on this kick because it's been a weird day. So I hope this is hitting home for somebody, either watching it live or listening to this on the recording. But I encourage you to always pay it forward to the best of your abilities. Caitlin, we love you, girlfriend. We love you.
Yes,
Caitlin.
we do.
And we encourage you, girlfriend. Much love. That's to you.
That's right. Caitlin might be, well, we'll see how it goes. She might be stepping in and getting a little bit more involved in the podcast, as she was our original producer. And we had brought somebody on full time, and that she did a great job for a while, but didn't end up working out long term. So Caitlin may be taking on some things in the Real Estate Uncensored world again. So guys, we got to wrap this up. We've talked about mindset. We've answered some questions on lead gen and marketing and open houses and all kinds of stuff like that. If there's any question you want us to cover, better get it in under the wire. Right now, let's mention Get Now Business, getnowbusiness.com. That is the course, simple 4-step marketing plan on how to put commissions in your pocket in the next 90 days of no cold calling, no door knocking. Guys, we will not eventually, but probably sooner than later, pull this course off of the market. And so jump on it while you can. It is limited to 20 people per class size, so keep that in mind. Just go to getnowbusiness.com to sign up. We've got classes starting on October, I believe it's 3rd. It's the first Tuesday in October. It is October 3rd. So we run every Tuesday morning. So there's literally no excuse. It's 9 a.m. on Tuesday for those of us on the West Coast. On the East Coast, it's Tuesday at noon. You pretty much cannot dial in a better time to, get your week started with some good instruction and to-dos for the rest of the week without actually killing your lead generation time.
Yeah, Matt, do we want to talk about our big thing that we're building? Do we want to talk about that? Do we want to lead that at all right now?
Are we talking about the mastermind?
No, we're talking about the other big thing.
No, I'm actually not ready to talk about that yet. I don't think.
I want to talk about it. It's not just yours, man. It's mine too.
Yeah, but it's the end of the show. Let's save it for another part of another show. How's that?
You guys want to know what we're talking about? Because it's going to be super duper awesome, and it's going to be fan-dably-dastic. All of our products are going to be free to you, and that's just one part of this cool thing. That's all I'm going to say, Matt.
PM Greg, please overwhelm him, snow him under with private messages on Facebook, and in the meantime, make sure to follow us.
I like talking to everybody.
If you are located in a foreign country and you have 3 names and you have 4 friends, all of whom are guys, and you want me to go check out the pictures of you, please do not friend request me. I do not enjoy those. They are a waste of my time, and I hit delete. Otherwise, feel free to follow me and Greg on Facebook. If you try to friend request us, most likely it's going to go into to what we call the black hole of friend requests. Following us is the best way to keep tabs on what we are doing and get the notifications on when we are live with the show.
Blake, spit it out, Greg. You can't keep a secret.
Yeah.
Guys, it is going to be awesome. It is going to be seriously awesome. It's something that Matt and I are incredibly excited about. No, I'm not going to actually tell you what it is, but I will tell you this, guys. It is something that Matt and I are incredibly excited about. And there's so many massively huge positives involved with this that there's just no one and nothing ever will lose with what we're going to be getting involved with and what we're going to be launching out with you guys. So stay up to date. Let us know what's going. We'll let you know when Matt is his feelers are all in the right order and we can talk about it. I don't feel comfortable talking about it right now. I don't know why I gave you a southern accent.
Whatever.
But yeah, we love you guys. That's why we do this show. That's why we're going to launch this huge, big, amazing, awesome thing that we want everyone to be a part of with us. And it doesn't cost you anything. That's the cool part. You don't have to buy a damn thing from us. It's 100% free to you. But your success is our joy. You know, and so we want to see you guys succeed on epic levels, and I think we may have found how to do that. But enough of being sappy, Johnson. Gosh.
All right. We do love you guys, though. Appreciate everybody watching the show, listening to the show, subscribing on YouTube and iTunes and Facebook and, Stitcher and all those places. We really, really appreciate you guys sharing the show with other people. So we have people sharing the show like outside of real estate, which is awesome. So we actually have people in completely non-related industries watching and listening to the show. For some reason, they get some sort of sales and marketing benefit, or they just like to hear our dulcet tones drone on about open houses. I don't know why, but whatever. But anyway.
That could be very, Victor, I want to answer a question for him. How long do you work with a client until you let them go? He's been working with a client for 4 years. That's epic, dude. That is like you get the gold watch to retire.
Please tell me he's not been showing them homes this whole time.
I don't know. Victor did not go into detail on that. But, dude, this comes down to client control. And when it comes to client control, you need to ask and find out their expectations, their timelines, their wants, their needs, what's either driving them to get into a home or get out of a home. And if there's like, I was kind of looking, or just might want to sell if the price is right, dude, they got to go to your C or D list. Stay in touch with them, but don't spend as much time with them because they are life suckers and they will suck the lifeblood out of you. And dude, 4 years, fuck, dude, that is
about 3.5 years too long.
God, my long was 2 years. But yeah, so go do that. And then Michelle, my favorite marketing or vertical for lead gen. My favorite for lead gen would be probably Rockstar Connect. So we're working with Rockstar Connect guys here, and they throw parties for you. Like my next party is tomorrow. I can't wait to go to it. And if you guys want more information on how they can throw parties for you guys, they give you a free location and free food. Your cost is like $300 or less a month, and you guys can get going with that. It's awesome stuff. Matt is texting me, wrap it up.
That's right. I got another podcast to get to. Come on, man. All right. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
All right. Until later, guys. Peace out, ninjas. We gone.